Welcome to VB Storytime. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of the Fall of Constantinople, one of the most pivotal events in history. However, the rise of the Ottoman Empire under Sultan Mehmed II brought that era to an end. After a fierce 2-month siege, the Ottomans breached the city's legendary walls. On May 29, 1453, marking the fall of the Byzantine Empire and the rise of the Ottoman Empire. This event reshaped global trade, fueled the Renaissance, and changed the course of history forever. Stay tuned as we explore how this epic battle reshaped the world and marked the end of the medieval era. If you enjoy this deep dive, like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more epic history content. Let us know in the comments which historical events you'd like us to cover next. For over 100 years, Constantinople stood as the heart of the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire. Founded by Emperor Constantine the Great in 330 AD on the site of the ancient Greek city of Byzantium, Constantinople was one of the most heavily fortified and strategically located cities in the world. Constantinople sat at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, controlling trade routes between the East and the West. Its location along the Bosphorus Strait made it a key center for commerce, culture, and political influence. The city's position made it a natural target for ambitious conquerors, but it also made it extremely difficult to capture. The city was protected by the famous walls of Theodosius, a triple-layered defensive system that had withstood numerous sieges over the centuries. Greek engineers had developed advanced defensive weapons like Greek fire, a highly flammable substance that could burn even on water. Despite its history of strength, by the 15th century, the Byzantine Empire was in deep decline. Decades of political corruption and military defeats had drained the empire's strength. The empire had lost most of its territory to rising powers, leaving only Constantinople and a few outlying territories in Greece and the Balkans. Trade routes were disrupted, leading to financial hardship and a shrinking population. The once mighty Byzantine army was reduced to just a few thousand poorly equipped soldiers. Byzantium was no longer the empire it once was, and its greatest threat was emerging from the east. While the Byzantine Empire was in decline, the Ottoman Empire was on the rise. The Ottomans were a Turkic-speaking people who had emerged as a powerful force in Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, in the 13th century. Over the centuries, they expanded rapidly under skilled military leadership, capturing key territories in the Balkans and the Middle East. By the mid-15th century, the Ottomans were one of the most formidable powers in the Islamic world. In 1451, Mehmed II became Sultan at just 19 years old, after the death of his father, Murad II. Mehmed was highly educated, fluent in multiple languages, and deeply influenced by both Islamic and classical Roman traditions. He was a military genius and a skilled strategist with a single goal: to capture Constantinople and make it the crown jewel of his empire. Mehmed believed that seizing Constantinople would fulfill Islamic prophecy and secure his place in history as the greatest Ottoman ruler. Sultan Mehmed II knew that Constantinople's legendary walls wouldn't fall easily, so he prepared meticulously. Mehmed commissioned a Hungarian engineer named Urban to build a massive cannon, the Basilica cannon, that could fire 500 kg, 100-pound stone projectiles. The cannon was over 8 meters, 27 feet long, and required 60 oxen to transport. Its projectiles could smash through even the thickest medieval stone walls, something no other weapon had been able to do. To cut off Constantinople's supply lines, Mehmed ordered the construction of Rumeli Hisara, a massive fortress on the European side of the Bosphorus Strait. The fortress was built in just 4 months, an astonishing feat of engineering. It allowed Mehmed to control all maritime traffic heading to and from Constantinople. Mehmed gathered a massive invasion force. Over 100 soldiers, including janissaries, elite Ottoman shock troops trained from childhood. A fleet of 145 warships to attack the city from the sea. Dozens of heavy cannons and siege engines. On April 6, 1453, Mehmed's army surrounded Constantinople. The Byzantines, under Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos, prepared for battle with only 7 defenders, including a small contingent of Venetian and Genoese allies. Mehmed's cannons opened fire, bombarding the walls day and night. The basilica cannon caused serious damage, creating large cracks in the walls. Each night, the Byzantines scrambled to repair the breaches, but the damage was increasing daily. To prevent a naval attack, the Byzantines stretched a massive chain across the entrance to the Golden Horn harbor. Ottoman ships were blocked from entering the harbor, but Mehmed had a bold solution. On April 22, 1453, Mehmed ordered his fleet to be dragged overland on greased wooden logs, bypassing the chain and launching a surprise attack from the sea. The defenders were stunned. The Ottomans were now attacking from both land and sea. The city's defenders were fighting desperately, but the situation was becoming hopeless. The basilica cannon continued to hammer the walls. Food and supplies were running low. Morale was collapsing as the Ottomans increased the intensity of their attacks. Emperor Constantine XI refused to surrender. He stood with his men on the walls, knowing that the fate of the empire rested on their shoulders. By the end of May 1453, it was clear that the Byzantine defenders were running out of time and options. Despite their determination, the defenders were outnumbered and outgunned. The Byzantine defenders, led by Emperor Constantine XI and his Genoese ally Giovanni Giustiniani, had fought valiantly for nearly 2 months. The powerful basilica cannon had weakened key sections of the city's walls. The defenders were exhausted after weeks of continuous bombardment and hand-to-hand combat. The Ottomans were gaining momentum. They had breached parts of the outer walls. They had managed to haul their ships overland into the Golden Horn, bypassing the great chain that had protected the harbor for centuries. Realizing that the situation was critical, Constantine XI made one final attempt to secure outside help. He sent urgent pleas to the Pope, the Republic of Venice, and the King of Aragon, but no substantial aid arrived. A small fleet of 5 Genoese ships managed to break through the Ottoman blockade and deliver some supplies, but it was too little, too late. The Western European powers were either unwilling or unable to organize a significant rescue force. Sultan Mehmed II knew the city was on the brink of collapse, but he also knew that the walls had held for nearly 2 months, and morale among his troops was starting to decline. Mehmed ordered his forces to prepare for one last, massive assault on the city. He held a council of war and addressed his men directly. "Soldiers of Islam, tomorrow we take the city of Caesar. Fight with the strength of your faith, and the glory of Allah shall be yours." Mehmed promised his men the right to pillage the city for 3 days if they succeeded, a powerful incentive for his army. On the evening of May 28, both sides prepared for the decisive battle. Mehmed ordered the entire Ottoman army to engage in prayers and religious rituals. Islamic clerics reminded the soldiers that capturing Constantinople would fulfill a prophecy of the Prophet Muhammad. Verily you shall conquer Constantinople. What a wonderful leader will her conqueror be, and what a wonderful army will that army be. The Byzantines gathered for a final service at the Hagia Sophia. Constantine XI addressed his people, urging them to fight with courage and faith. My beloved people, the hour of destiny is upon us. Let us stand together as brothers for our faith, our city, and our freedom. Constantine removed his imperial garments and pledged to fight as a common soldier. Citizens prepared for the worst. Some took refuge in the churches, while others armed themselves to fight in the streets. At dawn on May 29, Sultan Mehmed launched his final and most ferocious attack. The first wave consisted of the Bashi Bazouks, irregular Ottoman troops with little training. Their task was to exhaust the defenders and force them to reveal weak points in the walls. The Byzantines fought back with swords, spears, and even boiling oil, pushing the first wave back. Mehmed then sent in the more experienced Anatolian troops. The walls were crumbling under cannon fire, but the defenders managed to hold their ground. Greek fire was used to burn Ottoman siege towers and repel ladders. Despite their exhaustion, the defenders held the line, but just barely. Mehmed then unleashed his elite force, the Janissaries. The Janissaries were highly disciplined and trained from childhood to be elite soldiers. Armed with bows, muskets, and swords, they attacked in perfect formation. They breached the outer walls and forced the defenders to retreat to the inner sections of the city. At the height of the assault, a small gate known as the Kirkaporta Gate was accidentally left open. Ottoman scouts discovered the opening and quickly alerted Mehmed. A force of Janissaries stormed through the gate and began overwhelming the defenders. The Byzantine army, already stretched thin, could not recover. Once the Ottomans established a foothold inside the city, the outcome was sealed. Emperor Constantine XI knew the city was lost, but he refused to surrender. He removed his imperial robes and shouted, "God forbid that I should live as an emperor without my empire." Constantine led a final charge into the heart of the Ottoman advance. He was last seen fighting with his sword drawn. His body was never recovered. By midday on May 29, the Ottoman banners flew over the walls of Constantinople. Mehmed entered the city in triumph and rode directly to the Hagia Sophia. He dismounted from his horse, knelt in prayer, and declared the great church to be converted into a mosque. Mehmed gave orders to spare key buildings and institutions, but the looting and bloodshed continued for 3 days. The Byzantine Empire, which had lasted for over 100 years, was officially no more. Constantinople became the new capital of the Ottoman Empire. Mehmed declared himself Caesar of Rome. The Ottoman Empire now controlled key trade routes between Europe and Asia. Constantinople became a major center of Islamic culture and learning. The fall of Constantinople shocked Europe. The loss of trade routes to Asia forced European nations to seek new maritime routes, sparking the age of exploration. Within decades, explorers like Columbus and Vasco da Gama would seek alternate routes to India and the Americas. Thousands of Greek scholars fled to Italy, bringing with them classical knowledge that helped fuel the Renaissance. The conversion of the Hagia Sophia into a mosque became a symbol of the Islamic world's triumph over Christendom. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the medieval era and the beginning of the modern world. It signified the final collapse of the Roman Empire. It established the Ottoman Empire as the dominant power in Eastern Europe and the Middle East. It triggered a profound shift in global trade, exploration, and politics. The fall of Constantinople was not just a military conquest, it was a defining moment in world history. It reshaped the balance of power between East and West and ushered in a new era of exploration and expansion.